Okay, so example, you want to submit this file that contains your HTML file and your stars.css file. So after downloading a WinRAR, you would have an option of, if I were to right click on this one, you would have an option of this, add to archive. So if I were to click on this, it's going to open up this window. We can compact into a RAR file or a zip file. I'll select zip, and we can choose the location or whatever, wherever you want it to be, and simply press OK. So it's gonna convert it into this zip file. Now this zip file is going to contain both of your files. Did you guys get that, or should I repeat it again? Okay, so first,
we will be submitting the zip file,
yeah,
and when you open it, you'll be able to see the index and style.
yeah, exactly. In fact, not just the two
Okay.
files. If you were to have, let's say, 10 files or 20 files, I'll be able to see those files as well. So basically that's the, you have to submit me this file, this zip file. Okay, so I've given you the option of resubmit. You can resubmit it again with proper files. And plus, I didn't receive Miss Miriam's and Mr. Adil's assignment, so I want that as well. Okay, so let us open the folder. So it was I guess Arsha. Yeah. Let me get to the index.html file. Oh yeah, there was something missing with the animation. There was another topic I have to discuss about the animations. So let me make this go live first, and then we can move towards the website. Where's the go live option? uh, where is it? Wait, let me do it. Wait. Okay, yeah, we have it here. Go live. It's gonna warm up first. Okay, starting. And yeah, so this was what we did the last time. So do you guys get the concept of from and to? So what does from and to refers to in animation? What does from and to refers to in animations?
Like where to start and
Exactly, good. Like where to start, the starting position of the animation, and where to end, where the animation should end. So basically this is used for simple animations. So what if you want to have kind of like a complex animation, like I want this box to move from this position to this position, and then here, and then from here to here, and then back to the original position. Now this one is quite complicated. So how can we achieve that? This can't be achieved with from and to, because this from and to can only handle only like two positions. So how can we make complex animations like this one, like making the blue box go all around the red box? So here comes another way we can implement animations. So that is through percentages. So I'm gonna say 0% and then curly braces. Now this 0% refers to 0% of the time of this animation. So basically 0% of 2 second, like what should happen at 0% of 2 second? What's 0% of 2? What's the 0% of 2?
zero.
0, exactly. So what should happen when the animation is at 0%? Like it should stay here. Okay, so we're gonna say transform and translate, not just x, translate, because we want to move x and y both. So both ones should be x0 and y0. Like we don't want it to move. Okay, then we can put whatever number we want, whatever percentage we want. So I'm going to put, let's say, 25%. So what does 25% refers to? 25% of what? Like this?
Two.
Yeah, exactly, 2. So basically 25% of 2. So what is 25% of 2? I don't know. So let's open calculator. So how do we calculate percentage of something? Like I want to calculate 25% of 2. So what's the formula? You guys do like maths.
Do we divide?
Yeah, divide by what?
25 and 2.
25 into, and then 2, good. And percent divided by, where's the divide?
Divided by.
Yeah, divided by 100. So yeah, we get 0.5. So basically 25% would mean what would happen at 25% of 2 seconds. So what would happen at 25% of 2 seconds? I want this box to be like here. So wait, let me open the pane so I can get the structure ready. So let's say we have this red box, and this is the wait. So at this point, this is the origin point. So 0. You guys have studied graphs in mathematics, have you?
Yeah.
Okay. So this box is 400 pixels in total. Was it 400 or 500? Yeah, sorry, it was 500. So what would be the points here? So x would be how much at this point? What would be the x? What's the weight of the box? It is 500. Yeah, good. 500. And what about y?
0.
Very good. The y isn't moving. 0. So what about this point? X would be how much from the initial position? We have to calculate from the initial position. So how further is the x, the box? How further is the point from the initial position? The x1. This
500.
500. Yeah, good. And what about y? From the initial position.
0.
It moved like how much? This is the initial position of y. Yeah, so it moved 500. What about this position? This one. How much is x moved? How much has the x moved?
0.
0. Good. And what about y?
500.
Good. 500. So this is what we want to do with the blue box. At 0% it should be 0 0. At 25% it should be 500 and 0. 500 from the x, 0 from the y. And at let's say 50%, whatever percentage you want to put, 500 500. And when it reaches let's say 75%, it should be 0 and 500. And when it reaches again 100%, it should be back to 0 0. So this is what we want to do with our box. Okay, so at 25% we want our box to be here. So how much do we have to translate? So transform, translate, how much? This is the points we want, 500x and 0y. So I'll say translate 500x pixels and 0y, but we would encounter a problem, and that is this. It goes outside of the box. Why is that? We have discussed about this last time. Yeah, exactly. The box has its own width, so we have to subtract that width from the actual measurements. So the box width is 100 pixels. The total size of the box is 500 pixels. So we can simply subtract it. 500 minus 100 is 400. So perfect. Now the box stays inside. Okay. So at 25%, that is 0.5% of at 0.5 seconds is gonna go to this side. Let's say at 50%, 50% of what again? 50% of what? 2 seconds. Yeah, good. So transform. We want it to be here. What will be the coordinates? It is 500 500 minus 100. That is 400 400. So translate 400 px and 400 px. So it's gonna go down. So here you go. So why is it moving like this? Like this. So basically, yeah, exactly, good. So basically what's happening is at 0% it's at 0 0. At 25% it's at 400 0. At 50% it's at 400 pixels and 400 pixels. And now we haven't given anything else after this. So basically it's gonna go back to the 0%. So at 0% it's 0 0. So basically it's gonna go from this point to back to the initial position. So at let's say 75%, we want it to be here. What was the coordinate for this point? 0 and 500. This would be 400 because of the width. So we'll say transform, translate, how much was it? 0 and 400. So do we have to give 100% to be 0 0, or would it work anyways?
It would work.
Yeah, good. Why is that? Because after 75% it's gonna go back to 0%, and 0% is already at 0 0. So we have a proper box moving. But there's a problem. The problem is it basically starts from where it ends. We don't want that. We want it to, complete a full structure. Like I want it to be in a loop, constant loop. So what should I do? Okay, the first question is, why is it doing it like this? Why is it, starting from the position where it ends the animation? Why is it starting from the position where it ends the animation? Because we've put alternate here. So alternate would mean start from the position where you end the animation. So we don't want that. We want it to be in a constant loop, so we can remove that. So this box is gonna be in a constant loop. Okay, so this isn't just what we can do. We can do multiple stuff here. So let's say we want to change colors as the box moves on different positions. So let's say as 0% is going to be blue. When it reaches 25%, we want the background color to be, let's say, green. And let's say when it reaches 50%, I want the background to be purple, let's say. And when it reaches 75%, we want the background to be, let's say, aqua. Yeah, we can do multiple things. Similarly, we can change the structure of the sphere as well. So let's say at 25%, we want the border radius to be, let's say, 50%. So it's gonna be circle when it reaches the 25%. So any questions about this percentages animation?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay, great. So I think that's it for the animations for the time being. So let us move towards the main the website. So I'm gonna close the server and start it again. And yeah, let's start creating the website, and let's animate this one like we have in our shop. Let me close all the irrelevant tabs. Okay, so this one is being animated, ours is not. Okay, so tell me, which div should I target in order to animate this? What should I target in order to animate this image? Should I target col LG6? Because this image is inside the col LG6. Like, where do I? What?
No.
So what should I target then? If I can target col LG6 in order to
The
animate.
parent.
Sorry,
It's parent.
it's col. No. What my question was, I want to animate this image, okay? And this image
Well,
is
I'm
inside
saying
this.
target its parent.
Yeah, the parent of this image is called LG6. Look, this is the image we want to animate, and this image is inside called LG6. My question is, do we target this one, or do we target something else?
Target the image.
Okay, target the image. Okay, this image. Yeah. So what should be my selector then? What should be my selector if I want to animate this image? So this is the parent, so we have to target this one, but we can target this one. We can target this one, but there would be a problem if we were to target this one and animate it. Tell me about the problem. If we were to target this and put animation on this class, what would happen?
You could give it another name after
Yeah, we have to
Colombi.
give it another name. And why is that? Because we have multiple call LG6 in our website. So if you were to put animation on this one, it's gonna animate every call LG6. We don't want that. So we have to give it a separate name. So we can put a space here, and let's name it anim, and let's say image. So copy it, and inside the styles of CSS, we can put anim image. And what's the property for animation? What's the property if we want to animate something?
Animation.
Good, animation. and how many things does it take from us? It takes multiple things. The first one being the name of the animation. So let's say I want to name it move up, let's say, and I want this animation to complete in, let's say, 1.5 seconds, and I want it to be infinitely, I want it to run infinitely, so I'll put infinite here. And I want it to run alternatively, like I want it to start from where it finishes, so I'll just put alternate. But it's not gonna work. Why is that? Why doesn't it work?
Because of the keyframe.
Very good, because of the keyframe. So we'll put, let's say, keyframes, and the identifier, the name is move up. Okay, so my question to you guys is, do we use from and to, or do we use percentages?
From and to.
Yeah, good, exactly, from and to, because this is a simple animation, it's just moving up and down. So from and to. So we want the animation to start at this point and move up. So what's the property we have to apply? What's the property we want to make it move up and down?
Transform.
Very good. Transform. Translate on which axis? It's moving up and down. So which axis is this?
Right.
Very good. So we'll just say translate y. We want it to start from 0 and we want it to move up. So do we use negative or positive in order to move it up?
Negative.
Negative. Good. So negative, let's say 10 tx. Yeah, it's moving but it's too slow. So how do we make it fast? How do we make it fast? Like which thing should we change in order to make the animation fast? We're saying, yeah,
The time.
yeah, good, the time. So let's make it 1 second. Yeah, now it's looking good. And the great part is about this is it's totally responsive. So it's gonna look like this on the smaller screen, and it's gonna be like this on the bigger screens. Okay, so let's move towards the next section. This one. So what do you guys see? We can do this slider at the moment because this is done by JavaScript, but what we want to do with this section is like this way. So let me open the pane. And so at the moment on the bigger screen, this section is like this. So 1 2 3 4 5 6. So 1 2 3 4 5 6. Okay, so this is for the larger screen. What we want in the for the middle screen is like this. 1 2 3 1 2 3. And for the smaller screen, like for anything below the medium screen, we want it to look like this. Okay, so this is what we want. So the first question is, do we have a container or do we have a container fluid in this section? The container, yeah, good, container fluid. And why is that?
Because it's taking the full screen.
Very good, because this background color is taking up the full space of the screen. So inside the index.html, after this one, we're gonna put another container dash fluid, and we're gonna put a bg of body tertiary. So basically this class is coming from Bootstrap, and this class is for that grayish color we see, this color that we're seeing here, the light grayish color. Okay, so inside this container, does the items inside this are taking the full screen of the width, the full width of the screen, or are they taking the less space of the screen? Are they taking the full space, or like around 80 to 90% of the screen?
No, they're not. They're taking short.
Yeah, so what should we do? Like this, if we were to put them inside a container fluid, they're gonna take up the full space. We don't want that.
Or just container.
Yeah, good. So inside the container fluid, we're gonna put container. Okay, so now comes the good part, and that is, so we want them to be lined side by side on the bigger screen like this. So what's the class for that?
Row.
Very good, row. And inside this row, how many columns do we have?
12.
Yeah, we do have
Oh, we
12.
have
And how much is each one of
12.
them taking on the bigger screen? Like, it's simple mathematics. We have 12 columns and we have 6 items inside those 12 columns. So how much would each column take in order to fulfill those 12 columns?
2.
2. Very good. So on the larger screen we have 2 columns. We're going to say call dash lg dash 2, and we want how many divs? We want 6. So 1 2 3 4 5 6. So inside each div, so what's the shortcut for this one? Like multi cursor. I think I haven't told you guys about this one. So the shortcut for this one, in order to select multiple stuff, we have to press alt and we can click where we want to have a cursor. Okay, so inside each one of these divs we want to have an image.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Can you do that now?
yeah, sure. So basically, for example, we want to have our cursor present inside between these divs, all of these divs, between all of these divs. So what we can do is place your cursor inside the first div first, and then press alt key. Okay, for Mac it's, I guess, command key, and then click wherever you want the cursor to be. Okay, press alt, keep pressing alt, and then press click. You have to click while pressing the alt button, so it's going to select multiple cursors. Okay, so inside each column we want to have an image, and this image we can, for the moment, we can do this to copy it, paste it, and for the width we can do, let's say, 100% at the moment. So yeah, we have these uh, icons or images. Okay, but there's a problem, and that problem is our images are too big. These ones are small. So what should we do?
Change the way.
Yeah, exactly. So let's say maybe instead of 100% we can do 50%. Oh no, it's too small. So 70%. Yeah, perfect. But if you were to pay a little close attention to these images, are these images in the center? Are they or are they not?
They are.
Wait, let me turn on the pesticide. Now, are they in the center? This, yeah. So how can we make them go in the center? How can we make them go in the center?
I'm auto.
Very good. So I'm gonna put a class on each image, and I'll say M auto. That's very good. And but again, this is not going to work. Why is that?
You have to display it as
Oh,
block.
very good. Exactly. So basically, M auto doesn't work on inline elements. So we have to put D block. Perfect. So now they're in the center. But again, they are too attached up to the corners of the parent. So what should we do? Look, this image is too attached to the parent. We want,
Justify content.
we have to put space from where?
Margin?
Margin is from the outside. We want to put the space.
Padding.
Yeah,
Padding.
padding. So inside each, no, sorry, not in each, let's say inside this container fluid, we can put P3. Yeah, perfect. Good. But again, the problem is, if we were to go a little smaller, these images are going to take up the full space of the screen. We don't want that. We want it to be like this on the middle screen, on the medium screen. So what should we do? Okay, first tell me, how much is each one of them taking on the medium screen? What's the width each one of them is taking on the medium screen?
2 again.
If you were
4. Actually, no, that's bigger. It's 4.
just, yeah, good, 4. So 4, 4, and 4 sums up to 12. So what should we do? That's very good that you've got it, that we have to put 4 columns on medium screen. But how do we do that? And where do we do that? This was your first assignment.
You have to add the code M
Yeah, good. And where do I add that?
next to the code to the
Very good. here,
Yeah.
because we want this to be the same thing. I want this to have more weight on the medium screen, so we have to put it here. So it's for all of the Cole LG2s. So how do I select each one of them? Like, how do I select the
So
next one? What's the shortcut?
Alt.
Uh-huh. What was the shortcut? Like, if I want to select the next instance of that thing, it was Control and D. D as in dog. Okay. So the shortcut for selecting. So we have two shortcuts. If we want to have a cursor here and then here, we can press Alt and then click. It's gonna select. But if we were to select this one, and then we want to select the next instance of call LG2, so what was the shortcut? It was Control D. If I were to select the next one again, then I'll press Control D again, then the next one Control D, then the next one Control D, and then the last one Control D. So now it's selecting each one of them. Okay, so we want to put MD, so we'll say call MD, and how much is it taking? It was 4.
Yeah.
So save it, and perfect. But again, the problem is here. So anything below medium screen, we want it to take how much? How much is it?
6.
6. Very good. So here we can say, if we were to say, let's say call SM6, like we wanted to have 6 columns on smaller screen, we'll still have a problem. Okay, this is looking good. But if we were to go below smaller screen, that is the mobile screen, it's gonna be like this. We want to have 6 columns on mobile as well. So how do we target the mobile screen? And I think I haven't told you guys about the mobile screens. We have gone up until, I think, SM. Have I told you about the mobile screens, or have we just studied about the SM?
Just
Right.
FM.
Okay, so if we want to target the mobile screens, it's just call. No SM, no MD, it's just call for the mobile screens. Okay, so for the call we want 6. So it'll be 6 for mobile screens as well. So if we were to go more smaller, it's gonna be the same thing. If you were to open it on a mobile phone, it's gonna look really good, hopefully, and yeah, it's looking good. Okay, so any questions? Any questions? Okay, great. So this section is quite good, and you'll learn a lot of stuff, because most of the sections after this is gonna be like the same as this one. Okay, so what do you see? Do we have a container or container fluid? Is it container or container fluid? Yeah, container, just the container. There's no container fluid because we don't have any background that's taking up the full space of the screen. So after this one, we're gonna have a container, and I want to have a padding on extra large screen, just the extra large screen. So I'll go with, you have to this is something new, so pay like close attention to this one. So I'll say P dash Excel dash 5. What does this mean? What do you think this means? P Excel 5. Like, tell me. Yeah, yeah, I want padding of 5 on extra large screen. I want to have a padding of 5 on extra large screen, and below that, below extra large screen, I want to have a padding of 3. So basically, extra large screen starts from 1200 pixels and so on. Okay, 1200 pixels and onwards. So I want to have a padding of 5 on extra large screens, but I want to have a padding of 3 below the size of extra large screen. Okay, any questions about this one? Should I do it again, or is it good? Okay, let me repeat it again. So basically what I want to have is, I want to have more padding on bigger screens, and I want to have less padding on smaller screens. So if I want to have, let's say, more padding on extra large screens, what I can do is, I can do P dash Excel. Excel refers to padding. Okay, first tell me, what does this refers to? This one. What do you think this refers to?
Just padding.
Just padding. And this just padding is basically for every screen, like smaller, medium, large, extra large, extra large. It's for every screen. But this one is going to have, it's going to have like pretty bad effects on smaller screen. This more padding on small screen. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to have more padding on bigger screens, but we want to have, less padding on smaller screens. So what we can do is we can put p dash xl dash 5. This would mean that we want to have padding of 5 on extra large screens only, but below this we want to have padding of just 3. Okay, so what would this mean? PMD3. What does
And
this?
a medium screen?
Yeah, we want to have a padding of 3 on medium screen. And what about this one?
And the small one.
Yeah, on the small screen. So what about this one?
And a
Yeah, good, on all of them. So except extra large, we want to have padding of 3 on anything that is below the extra large screen. Okay, so now let's move towards this one. So we have this. What is this, H1 or H2? Is it H1 or H2?
H2.
H2, yeah, we can't use H1 because we have already used H1 here, so it's going to have a pretty bad effect on SEO. We don't want that. So let's say H2 with a class of text of sender. So what does this do?
It's gonna read it to the middle.
Yeah, good. And then we have it, all of them is in uppercase, so we'll say text dash uppercase. Okay, so we want it to be bold. So what's the class for making it bold?
FW.
Very good. FW dash bold, and it's saying about us. Save it, and we have this about us. Perfect. But now we have this color, this bluish color. Okay, so if you were to see, this blue color is being used in like a lot of stuff, a lot of headings and stuff. So why don't we make, a kind of like a class? The Bootstrap doesn't have this color, so we can make a custom class. Okay, so let's make a class of text dash blue. This is our own class. Okay, this is a custom class, and this one is going to have a color of, how do we use the main color? This one.
VAR.
Yeah, good. VAR, and then main color. Okay, so there's another thing we want to do now. We are going to put exclamation mark and important, and I think we have discussed about this important, have we?
Yeah.
Okay, so what does this important mean?
It's like the color that we're gonna keep using.
It's gonna it says basically you have to apply this one no matter what. So why do we need this one? Because Bootstrap puts precedence on its classes. HTML and CSS put precedence for the Bootstrap classes. We don't want to take we don't want Bootstrap to take precedence. We want our class to take precedence, so that's why we have to put important, so that no matter what, this color is applied. So whenever we want to have this blue color on the text, we can simply call this text blue class. So this is our own utility class. This isn't coming from the Bootstrap. You have to remember this. Okay, so we want to have blue color on this H2. So what's the class we have to use?
Text blue.
Text blue. So is it coming from the Bootstrap?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
It's,
It's a custom class.
oh, you made your own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so if we were to put text info, is it coming from the Bootstrap? Is this coming
Yeah.
from the Bootstrap or not?
Yes.
Yes, this is one is coming from the Bootstrap, but we don't want this color. Okay, this is the color we want. We want text blue. This one is also coming from the Bootstrap, yeah?
No.
No. Good. This is our custom class. Perfect. Okay, so now comes the fun part. How do we make this? This isn't made by Bootstrap. Wait, let me zoom it up a bit. If you can see, we have like the gray line, and then we have this bluish line, and this line is deadly in the center, like perfectly in the center. How do we make it? It's just pure CSS.
Is it an HR?
We can use HR, but how would we put this blue div on that HR? It's gonna be kind of difficult if you were to do HR and then put This
You're
blue div.
gonna make two divs,
Very good.
and then the thicker one, you're just gonna center it.
Yeah, we have to do that. But how do we do that? The first part is good, that we have to have two divs. Okay, so how do we place those two divs? Like, what would be the structure of those two divs? Like, is there going to be a parent or child, or just two divs?
It's gonna
Who,
be parent
and
child.
who's going to be the parent?
The gray line.
Very good. The gray line is going to be the parent, because this one is holding this blue div. So after this h2, we're gonna put a class of gray. This isn't coming with a bootstrap, it's our custom class. And then inside this gray, we are going to put blue class. Okay, so that's it. So now we are going to style this gray and blue. So nothing's going to happen because this gray and blue isn't styled at the moment. So let's target the gray one first. So I'll put the gray. I'm going to put the width of, let's say, 10% of its parent, the height of, let's say, for the moment, let's say 5 px, and the background for this gray is going to be gray. But perfect, we have this one. So we want this to be in the center. What should we do? What should we do in order to make this go in the center?
Margin.
Very good. So we'll just do margin auto. Perfect. The gray one is in its place. So let's target the blue one now. So dot blue. We're gonna have a width. So the width of blue one is like smaller than its parent. So around, let's say, 50% of its parent. And the height is more than the parent. Yeah. So at the moment it's 5. So let's make it maybe, let's say, 7 px. And the background. So what's the color of the background here? What is this blue color?
Info.
Info. Good. So the problem only is we can't use info. Why can't we use info? Because info is a class, and classes are used only in HTML. How can we use classes in CSS? We can do that, but Bootstrap provides us with the solution, and that is, if when we include Bootstrap, we have a lot of variables that come with Bootstrap. So you have access to all of these variables because of the link we have pasted. So all of these variables are accessible, like all of them. So which variable do we need? If you can see, we have yes. Can you see the variable we want?
Yeah.
What is it called?
Info.
Dash dash bs dash
BS.
info. So these are the variables that we can use. So we can say, how do we use variables?
VAR.
var. Very good. And then what was the name of the variable?
Dash dash.
Dash dash bs dash
BS. Dash
info.
info.
But my question is, we haven't created any variable with the name of dash dash bs info. So how can we use this? How can we use something that we haven't created here?
It's already in Bootstrap.
Very good. Because it's already coming from the Bootstrap. So perfect. Now I want this blue one to be in the dead center. And when I say dead center, I meant like from top, right, bottom, left, from everywhere. So what should we do? What should we do in order to make this blue one go right in the center?
Margin.
Okay, let's say we're going to use margins. So for the blue one, we can use margin. It's going to work, but the only problem is it's going to work only from the x-axis. Can you see? It's working, but only
Yeah.
from the x-axis. It's not in the center. So what should we do? How can we make it go right in the center, like from every direction?
Text align.
Text align is for the text. So how do we make something move according to something else?
Just justify.
Move something according to something else.
Position.
Positions. Good. So we have to use positions in order to make it go in the center. So who's the parent? Who's the child? Who's gonna be position relative? Who's gonna be
The
position
gray
absolute?
is the parent.
Yeah, good. So what position is gonna parent have?
Relative.
Very good.
Relative.
So we're gonna say position relative, and the blue one is gonna be position
Absolute.
absolute. So what were those three properties that make it go in the center? So top 50%,
Left.
left 50%, and what was the last one?
Transform.
Transform, yeah, and then translate. That's exactly what we want. Negative 50, negative 50. So if you want to know about this extension, I think you guys now deserve this because you know a lot of stuff now, mashallah. So the extension is called Cloud Code. You can install this one. Okay, so basically it's gonna auto complete most of the stuff for you. But it's pretty annoying, I'll tell you that first. Okay, so it's gonna show you something that you wouldn't want, but sometimes it's gonna show you something really useful. So this is the extension that is gonna auto complete your code, this one. Plus there's another one called uh, black box. This one you can install, sorry, not black, yeah, I was black box, I guess. Yeah, black box. And then this last one called tab 9. So most of these things are gonna auto complete your code for you. Okay, so yeah, now let's make it more perfect. So height should be, let's say, 3 pixels, sorry, 2 pixels. And for the child, let's make it 3 pixels, and let's not make it gray and go with light gray. So yeah, now it's looking good. Great. Let's move towards this section now. What do you see? This one. How can we make this one? It's pretty simple, like this one and this one.
Call LG6.
Yeah, good, but before that we need to have another div. Like call LG6 isn't gonna work, like it's gonna not gonna put it side by side. So what's the div that's
Container.
gonna, yeah. So we're gonna have a row, and then inside this row each one is taking how many columns? They're taking equal columns. So we'll put call LG6 for this one, and similarly we're gonna have two columns called LG6. So the first column we have this, what is this? Is it a heading?
Paragraph.
Yeah, good, paragraph. And what is this? What is this?
A list.
Very good, a list. Which one, ordered or unordered?
Unordered.
Unordered, good, or unordered. So we're gonna go for UL. Now the class for the UL in Bootstrap is called list unstyled. So basically it's gonna unstyle your list, and this is exactly what we want. We don't want to have those bullet points. So inside this we're gonna have li. Let's copy each one. Again li. Perfect. So we have this, but now we want these icons. So you can get them in Bootstrap. I think I know the name for these one. They're called I with the class of vi, check 2 and circle. Yeah. So now we want to change the color for this one. What is the color of this one?
Info.
Info, good. So what's the class for making it go info?
Dash dash.
Very good. Text dash and then
Oh,
info. Perfect. Good. You guys are getting good, mashallah, like really good. But you have to submit your assignments on time. Okay. That's the only problem I have at the moment. Okay, so now we want to have space from the top. What should we do?
margin top.
Margin top on what?
On the
Like,
list.
uh-huh. We want to have margin for
On the
both.
paragraph.
Uh-huh. We want to have margin for both of these sections. Who's the parent of these sections?
On the parent. It's
Who's the parent for
Row.
both of these section?
Row.
Row.
Oh, row.
Okay, so let's say my4, so maybe 5. Yeah, now it's looking good. So on the other call LG6 we have this paragraph, and we have this button. So what is the color of this button? Okay, before telling me the color, tell me the class for the button in Bootstrap.
BTN.
BDN, good. And what is the color of this button?
Info.
Info, good. So we can say BDN info. But the only problem is gonna be, wait, let me see, BDN info, and inside this we'll have read more, and after this we have this arrow. So I think I know the name for this arrow, maybe. So I with a glass of bi arrow, and right, yes. Yeah, the problem I was talking about, we have this blue color like by default, whereas here we have this transparent button, but when we hover upon this one we have this color. So we can achieve that with Bootstrap. Instead of btn info, we can do btn dash outline info. So basically it's going to have an outline of info, but when we hover upon it we'll have that bluish color. So this is coming from Bootstrap. So look, this is exactly what we wanted. Perfect. Okay, but we wanted the button to be, a little bigger from the x-axis. So what should we do?
Somebody put down here.
What should we do in order to make it bigger from the x-axis?
Padding.
Padding, good. Only from the x-axis.
From the
So what
X.
should we do?
PY.
On the x-axis.
PX.
PX. Fine. Yeah, perfect. But again, the great part about Bootstrap is when we make it smaller, it's gonna be totally responsive. If we were to open it on a mobile phone, it's gonna be totally responsive. Perfect. Okay, so that's really great about Bootstrap. Like you don't have to do responsiveness on your own. Just put perfect classes and you'll have a perfect website. Okay, so any questions until now?
No.
Okay,
No.
okay, that's really good. So that would be it for today's, but for today's section. So, but again, we have to do one last thing, and that is we have to push it on GitHub. So, do you guys remember how we used to push on GitHub? Because that part is really important. Do you guys remember it?
Yeah.
Okay. So,
We
what's the
have to
first
do
thing?
git in it.
We have to do that, but there is something else we have to do first. We need to
Um.
have a repository first. We need to create a repository first. So, how do we do that? We're gonna go to GitHub. Did we push on GitHub last time, or we haven't?
We
Have you
did.
have you pushed on GitHub? Well, let me see. We can see if we were to go inside git bash. If it tells you the main, it's if no, we haven't pushed anything, because if we had pushed it, it would be saying main here. So well, let me search it as well. No, we haven't. So let's say I'm going to create a repository called Arsha. Okay, repository is called Arsha. Create repository, and that's it for the first step. Okay, now tell me the steps. What's the first step?
Git add.
The first step is git. This is the first time we're doing it. So
Git in.
git
Oh yeah.
init, like
Yeah,
initialize it.
in it. Yeah.
Where's the second step?
Git add.
No, we have to change this master to main.
Oh yeah.
So how do we do that? Git
The main.
branch dash m. You guys have to practice it. I'm not telling you to memorize them, because you don't have to do that. It's gonna come to you on its own. But again, there would come a time when we'll be creating, inshallah, like really big projects, like really big projects. and those projects would not be created, can't be created by me alone. So basically we would be working on those projects as a team. So basically maybe let's say I'm creating the about us page, you guys, one of you guys will be creating the contact us page, one of you would be creating the chatting page. Like we would have different pages, like everyone would be responsible for his own page, and that collaboration is achieved through GitHub. Like project would be the same, there would be one project, but all of us would be working on that same project. So basically this is called collaboration. Okay, so that collaboration is achieved by GitHub, so that's why I'm emphasizing on this part. Again, I'm not going to say you don't have to memorize it, it's going to come to you on its own. Okay, so git branch dash m, so we want to change our branch from master to what?
Main.
Main. Good. So we'll say main. So now we have this main branch, and now we want to link our email, but the first time we made it to be global, like we put dash dash global. So basically we only had to do it only once, we don't have to do it again, that step. So we can skip that step and we can just do this, like link our repository, copy it, paste it here. Okay, now it's pasted. Now we have to do that steps that we have to do again and again for each cycle. So what are those steps? Git, and then what were the steps we had to repeat? Add, good, space, and then like we want to add everything. Good, everything is for dot, is for everything, like git add everything. Look, now it's saying a, first it was saying u, like it's uncommitted. So the moment it's saying a, that is it's added, and then we have to push it. So let's say git push, and then we had dash u origin main. Oh, we push wasn't the first thing. First we had to commit it. This was the last step. So git commit dash m, and we can add our command. So let's say we did about us section, so we can say about us section completed. Now we have to push it. So git push dash u origin main. So now all of our code is
The
for
class is about to end any minute.
in how many minutes?
Under a minute.
Yeah, we're almost done. We're almost done. So basically now we have our code ready. Okay, so that's all for the homework. I'm gonna upload the assignment. So can you guys do it until the next class, or should I increase the deadline?
Increase the deadline.
You already have completed like this section, or you have
Yes.
completed this section. You just have to create like these two sections. So I think it would be completed in like before the next class, or is it not?
Yeah.
Okay, okay. So
Yeah, we could do it.
okay. So I'm going to be giving you the time for the before the next class. Okay.
Okay.
So any questions?
Class is about to end.
Yeah. Any questions? I'm going to end the. Okay. Okay. Thank you. You guys can go. Allah Hafiz.
Alright,
Allah Hafiz. Allah Hafiz.